and I will knock when you're done.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my show today is self-image. And the reason why I wanted to do a show on self-image is because I know there's a lot of people, mostly the younger people, have a self-image that's not really, you understand me, they're not sure of themselves or they're not confident enough. And that's understandable because when you're young, you're building your self-image. You see, that's why when you're in school, you notice everybody looks alike. They all try to keep up with each other. They go with the latest fads. That's why all these commercials, all these things on TV are aimed toward the younger people because these are the people that are forming their self-image. So the things that they buy, the things that is what everybody else buys because they want to be recognized and they want to be accepted. You see? And determining their self-image is how people react to them as far as getting acceptance from other people. So you want to wear the coolest clothes. You want to, you want to look like everyone else that's popular, that's stylish. You don't want to be a nerd. You don't want to be an outcast. You want to be accepted, and you want to be, you want to be number one. You want to be the best if you can. But you don't know how to be the best at the time. So what you do is you look up to other people that look to be popular in your class or in your bracket. In your class or wherever you're at in school, where it starts off at, You see, and that's where you form your self-image. Actually, it's from school because that's when people determine. Like, say, if you're an athlete in school, or if you're popular with the women in school, certain things that you do to make you understand me, have confidence in self-confidence in that area of school. Like me, for instance, I was in school. I was voted best dressed, without a doubt. You understand me? That's the only thing I got good in school was best dressed. But it wasn't a doubt that I wasn't sure about my dressing. It's just I dressed it good, as sharp as every day, consistently like I do now. But I started off in school. But I got this because I used to run away and go to the streets, and I would see the players and different people, in the game when I, go to the Tenderloin and plays with, pimps and hustlers and the people that were the best dressed. Where I would go there and formulate my style from them. And, you know what I mean? Sweet Roy and all them, you know what I'm saying? So I got my dressing down pat. So when I went to Oakland and I left Frisco when they kicked me out of San Francisco and I had to go to Oakland, I was pretty solid in my foundation as far as dressing go. I had a snakeskin cane. I wore silk suits and, turtles and alligator. I was really sure about my dressing. I had it down pat and I was confident. But that was due to the fact that I wasn't trying to keep up with the crowd no more. I was keeping up with the game, with fast life. And that dressing was just something that players did automatically. That was the best, what they did out of the ordinary. I didn't go to school dressed like tennis shoes, jeans, like regular kids did. I went to school dressed up, you understand? So I was a cut above the school, but it didn't bother me. I got all this attention, and like people do all the time. I was destined to do that. And I accepted that as being something good, not something bad. So my self-image was good at the time, and I was a good-looking young man. So I didn't have a problem with the women, with being. If I wanted to be an athlete, I was a track star in Ocean High School. So I was into athletes at the time. I was into that, but I got out of that all the way because I was street poisoned. So I was concentrating on being a ladies' man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was concentrating. I was a cut above the average student that was in school, which I should have been trying to concentrate in school. But back in my time, it was opportunity in the streets, so I could do that. It wasn't like now, where the streets are limited, and you have to go to school to get education because there's nothing in the streets. It's just drugs and corruption. At that time, it was people that was not taking drugs, but socially, maybe a little cocaine and drinking a little, and they were out there dressing and being their best and having money. They were doing the things they're supposed to do, and it was like you can make a career out the game. The fast life was just that. And as I got poisoned and was in it, my self-esteem and everything, my self-confidence, self-image was tight. It got tight early because I looked up to older people. I didn't look for the school people in the school to validate me because I was above the school. I wasn't in school, like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, had to go to school. They kicked me out of regular school, and then I had to go to continuation school, and that was part time. I didn't go there all the time. So I was lucky to make it and be as smart as I am, because I was self-taught. And the education I got when I got my GED and my college credits and stuff and AA and all that I had accumulated, I did this in the joint, you understand me? The time I did in the joint is where I got my education at. You know, because I did realize I'm not going to use my time. I'm going to use my time wisely. So I was studying all the time and using it like a person would do, disciplining myself in books. I studied. And that's why I got my education when I was inside. So the opportunity was there because you only do like a year, 2 years here. You know, that's just enough time to sharpen your mind. So I did that. I took advantage of that, you know. So my self-image, I was always building it up to where my self-image was solid. Because I did some self-help books in psychology. I did PMA, positive mental attitude. I did all these things to enrich and enhance my self-image. So I had it easier than a lot of people. Not really easy, but I just took it to an advantage because I was around older people. And, being in the fast life, being in the game and being young, I patterned after people that were successful, that were winning. I had enough sense to realize that, and then I had my mentor, my cousin, you understand me? She showed me the way, and I realized, even though she had it hard and went through a lot, the things she went through, I realized I didn't have to go through it because I didn't feel that way about myself. She felt ugly when she was younger. And she actually was a beautiful woman, but she felt ugly because next to the other people, her mother didn't take care of her like my mother took care of my sisters. So my sisters felt like queens because they dressed the best and had the best of everything. So a lot of times when you leave the house, your self-image, the first image you have is the image you have when you're at home. The image that your parents, your sisters, your brothers, what they feed you, you understand? If they always tell you that you're beautiful, if they always tell you that you're pretty, if they always, give you that reinforcement, then it becomes a part of you because you know you're pretty because when you came out the gate, people were telling you you're beautiful. If you have a mother or father, they're calling you ugly or calling you this, or people are, calling you a tramp or whatever they do when you're at the house and you're not wearing nice clothes, they're not treating you right, you know what I mean? They don't come see you for 3 or 4 days. You be hungry half the time, then you don't feel pretty. You're not secure in your self-image. And see, these are things that make you feel good about yourself, and that's the self-image that you end up with when you get to be a certain age. When you end up in your 30s, after you left the house, you're on your own, you're out of school where reinforcements come in and on your self-image. When you're in school around other people in school, it's competitive. You're competing with the best if you feel the best. If you're not, if you feel less than the best, then you'll be in different situations. Like me, for instance, it didn't hold me back because they had me in special ed because I wasn't attending school and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I was missing class. Rather than let me go because I was good in track, they put me in a special ed class. And I wasn't learning nothing then, but what I did, I went to track and was a good athlete. But they weren't really enforcing my knowledge to learn. That's why I say that these good teachers got to be on top of people to get them to learn. Because they'll let you slide through school and you'll get out if you don't have no backup. You'll get out of school and won't know nothing. Me, like I said, I was a hustler and a player, and I was in the streets making money. So I didn't really have the knowledge and education didn't really do me any good at the time. It did me good for us learning how to count and doing all the things you do. But you learn that firsthand, getting out the actual counting money and making money. It's something that you do. So you learn that. But a lot of things you learn on your own out in the street or whatever your environment is. But like I said, when it comes to your self-image, it depends on the people that give you the reinforcement. Like it comes first from the house, from home, then it comes from school when you go to school. Because bullying and all that type of stuff that happens, these are all lessons learned. That's why when you go to school, you try to be cool. You try to be one of the accepted ones because they have the mean girls. They have the girls that are mediocre. The same with the guys. They have the same group of people with the guys because the mean girls go with them dudes. They think they're something. The ones that think like the cheerleaders and the jocks and all that. And I used to try to be around them at one time. And then I realized, you understand me, I was better than them because they thought they were a certain way, and that way that they thought they were when they got out of school, the cheering squad ain't gonna be there with them. See, when they leave that's when their problems begin. They could be heroes in school, but when school is over with and the crowd's not there, you got to have self-image. It's got to be built in yourself. You mean your self-esteem and your image got to be something that you got to have. When nobody else, when the cheer squad, when the cheerleaders and the people are not around, you got to have it in you. That's why a lot of times people get out of school when they go to college or when they leave high school, and they might have been jocks and been all these different things, and then when they leave high school, if they don't go to college, and they out going trying to get a job, whatever they do, they don't have that popularity that they had in school. It's not there. So sometimes if their self-image wasn't solid and it was based on other people's image of them rather than self-image, then they have depression and they feel bad. And you wonder why. That's why people wonder why people got to go to psychologists and do all this. And you say, why would they have to go to psychologists? They look nice, they're this, they're that. No, they didn't build a strong ego. They didn't build a strong self-esteem. So therefore, you understand me, it relied on other people to reinforce that. You know what I mean? You got to be able to saturate your mind with PMA. You got to always, you understand me, realize that you're the best. You look the best, you're the best. You got to be your best cheerleader. You got to cheer for yourself. You can't depend on nobody else to be cheering for you, you understand? Because you got haters and these different people, and if your self-image is not strong, you understand me, then people will influence you. You know, you'll be weak and you'll be influenced by them. You know, and that's why a lot of times people don't realize this. You know, but a lot of women that become prostitutes and become in the porno business, you know, in the movie, in the dancers, bars that are dancers, and strip clubs and all that, is because their self-image is not solid. It might have been when they was young, when they got out of school, they didn't know what to do. They might have, you know what I mean, not been popular in school. It could be like that. Then when they got out, they needed the attention that they didn't get nowhere else. And when they got to the strip club, people gave them money and all that when they took their clothes off. So they took their clothes off to get the attention and to feel self-image, to feel good about themselves. But it's not a good way to feel because you're not really feeling good about yourself because the cheers and the crowd that are applauding for you are not applauding for you genuinely. They're applauding for you for sexual fantasy that you give them. You see? So therefore, that's why these people that have low self-esteem, their self-image is not solid. They usually end up in that type of field. You know, they end up, you understand me, you know, doing something that's mediocre, you know, something that's derogatory. It's something that's not good. You know, they end up in prostitution, they end up stripping, they end up, you know, doing things that are humiliating that are not right. And that's why I say at home, you got to build your people. If you have a girl, you got to build her up. Make her feel like a queen. Always give her her stripes. Tell her she's beautiful. You understand me? And always reinforce positiveness to these kids. Always tell them they're great. Tell them they're the best. Always reinforce positiveness because if you don't, it'll follow them up when they get older. It will follow them. You know, it'll follow them when they leave the house and they go to school. They feel that way because when they go to school, they're not feeling adequate to the other kids because when they left the house, their home environment was not solid and nourishing. You have to have that nourishment from the house, and then it goes to the school, and then it goes on, and then when you be a grown-up, you know, you got these people that be worked up, serial killers and all these different people, serial rapists, all these people come from environments that were not solid. They had some dysfunctional behavior that happened in their house. They could have been molested by their uncle, molested by their father, molested by, you know, their brother. Something happened to where, you know what I mean, they needed help and they didn't get the help, so therefore they didn't overcome the adversity that came to them and they carried it throughout their adult life. The point is not what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you when you realize, you understand me, you are somebody. It's the self-image you built after adversity or after tragedy. You have to come back from that. Because bad things happen, you understand me? Like I've been to prison. I was in prison a couple of times. You know, a lot of things bad happened to me. But I overlooked them as stepping stones to a better life and a better way of life. Because that's how you have to look at it. You know what I mean? And we all go through things. We have to go through things to make us stronger. Adversity to see the greater benefit. So that's why you build from that. Your self-image is building. If you constantly build it from it, when you have adversity and things that go wrong, if you grow from these experiences as you get older, like I said about wisdom the other day, if you grow from these experiences in an adequate way, when you reach a certain age, you know what I mean, if you once get your self-image together, when you get to be in your 30s, you know what I'm talking about, if you did things right, you're not worried about the other people no more. You know what I mean? You know it's yourself. You know it's how you feel about yourself that determines where you go and how you go and what you do. It's you alone. You understand? It's you that determines that travel, that road. Because your parents are not there with you, oh yeah, you can go home and visit them. But if you're 30, you should have your own family. You should be a leader and be able to lead your children on the right path to success in society. So therefore, and your wife, you should lead her, you understand me, with motivation and inspiring, you know. So you're a leader when you get to that age. You have your own family and you're leading, so your self-image should be solid at that particular time. You should have a job, something that you're dealing with. If you're not happy with the job that you're at, what you do is you look at that job as a stepping stone, somewhere you want to go further in, get further education, go to a trade school. You got to be willing to do better in yourself, better in life. See, like I said, I never worked, I never will, because the opportunity was there for me that I didn't have to work, you understand? That's not today. That doesn't work today. You know, I would never advise nobody to do that. When I came up, the opportunity was there so much, and there was so much money, and there was so much things going on, and I was so successful that my father was trying to get me to be a merchant marine, which was a good career. But working was the last thing I wanted to do because I was game struck and I was poisoned in the game. So I didn't want to get out the game because at that time I said, this is before AIDS, this is before crack, this is before all that miscellaneous stuff that made the game, tarnished the game. This is before all that. You know what I'm saying? This time the game was at its top and everybody stayed in their place. There was no jealousy, no hate. Women chose men that were appropriate for their caliber. And hey, man, it was wonderful. The game was great, but the game will never be like that no more. So I'm telling you people that it's go get a job, go to work, concentrate on building yourself. Be a better you. Concentrate on your self-image because your self-image is just that. It's yourself. It's how you think and how you feel about yourself. So what you do is you be your best self. You understand? And by being your best self, you do what's right for you. You see? You know what I'm saying? Because however you thought about yourself before, you can always be great and think great and be great because it's how you feel about yourself, not nobody else. You know, when people have low self-esteem, low self-image, then they listen to other people and they let other people change them and tell them what to do, whatever. You know, find out who you want to be and be that and be assertive and be sure about it. If other people don't like the color you put on or whatever, if you like it, you make sure you love it and don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Because you might be an outcast or you might be somebody don't accept. You be that. Because I'm going to tell you something. I went through a lot when I was young. I was a hippie for a minute. Just before I got into fast life and found my true identity and my true self-image. I was, I explored because I wanted to be like the Beatles. I wanted to be a rock star, so I would dress like in the mod clothes and the Beatle boots and the shingle shirts and, like hippies be on a Haight-Ashbury. I went through all that because they had a lot of women too, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be a popular person. But one thing I knew about myself is I had a strong self-image and I knew I was somebody. It's just who I was going to be was determining what it was going to be. Being great, I knew I was on the way to being great. Because everything I took, it wasn't no side trip. I wanted to be a star, you understand? When I seen the videos on Hullabaloo and all those people, I wanted to be a drummer in a band. I wanted to be somebody like Ringo Starr. I knew I wanted to be a winner. That I did know. And I didn't want to go to work and be a regular person that didn't stand out. So I happened to be a street star. I went to the streets, and I shined bright in the streets, and that's where I got my shine at, was in the streets, in the game. But I'm not advising people to do that because, like I said, that was my choice, and it didn't hold me back, and it was my self-image was solid. And I stood out because I knew how to grow and get knowledge. See, I was sharp enough to know how to get knowledge. I read books on psychology. I read books on all type of stuff dealing with the mind. When I went into that time in there, I did a whole lot of reading, man. I read every day, all day. I stayed in my cell and read books. I didn't go out to play when people was getting out and they had reset, people went to the weight pile. No, I ran 10 miles a day. But what I did, I ran my run, and then when people was going out to eat meals, whatever, I didn't even go out to eat. I didn't want to sit at the table with the rest of them convicts. I stayed in my cell, studied, read, and bought my own food. I bought food, you understand me? I didn't even come out. I didn't walk the yard at this one time. When I was in 77 to 79, I walked with the original Pretty Boy, and I sharpened my game up at the time because I was like my early 20s. I sharpened my game up then, went to Scientology, went to different groups, you understand me? And I was sharpening my mind up then. So, you know what I mean, to be a better person, because I looked at the penitentiary as a school of training to get better, to be better in the streets when I got out. I didn't go there to get a trade to go get a job. I went in there to get a trade to be a better player. And that's what I did. I did exactly what I went in there to do because I know what I wanted, you understand? And then when I got out, you know what I'm saying, well, you know, like I said, the things that held me back was not what I knew. It was the disease of alcoholism and drugs, which is a bad influence. That's why I say stay out the game, because the game will cause you to drink and use drugs, and that wasn't good. It didn't tarnish my self-image, but it did bring me to a point to where when I got tore up later on in life, when I stopped drinking, when it got to where I'd wake up dirty and in front of a liquor store, man, that wasn't me. Everybody was talking about me, laughing at me. I felt my lowest, and that wasn't me, because I was a boss, I'm a king. So I had to straighten up real quick. I didn't wallow in misery. I straightened up, you understand? And stood up tall and got back on my feet. But that was me, because I was strong, because I had the recipe. I had saturated my mind with PMA, so when I fell down behind alcohol, I knew how to get back up. I didn't stay down. See, that's the difference. When you got your mind built up and you're constantly building ammunition against the enemy, you understand? Because haters don't want to see you fall. They want to see you hit the ground, you understand? They don't want to see you stand tall against it all. And that's why haters, you understand me, they get to a point, and you got to realize they're the ones that's going to say negative things and say you ain't nothing and all that. But that makes you be more something. And you got to realize that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is my show for the day. International Red, self-image. Keep your self-image strong, and don't let nothing else keep you wrong. Believe that. International Red for the record. All right. The fashion experience. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. That was about 30 minutes, huh? Oh, okay. That was my fans. All right, thank you. So here, we'll have that on by next week, huh?
Yeah.